What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day to hang out with me while I yap about Marvel Rivals. I've got a really cool video here to share with you guys, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. We are going to be talking about identifying opportunity, and this has a lot of different aspects to it, so we're going to cover quite a few of them here, but obviously opportunity within a competitive game like this is pretty complex. So I just picked out some of the, the key points that would be worth talking about to help you guys address when you have opportunity to gain advantage right in front of you. Now, before we get into all of the nitty-gritty details here that I've got planned for you guys, if you have not subscribed yet, please take a moment to do so. If you're here for the first time, or maybe you're a returning viewer but you have not subscribed yet, you came back for a reason, I guess, I hope. Just subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so and it helps me out greatly. Okay, so what does opportunity look like in Marvel Rivals? Now, like I said, this can be a lot of different things, right? But there are a handful that I would like to talk about with you guys today. Now, the simple answer is, truthfully, in any type of competitive game like this, any moment and or opening that you have when you can capitalize and gain an advantage over the enemy team. Now, I think the four primary ones that I see right now in Marvel Rivals will be positioning. Positioning is very important. Advantaging mismatches, countering the enemy team, and then also enabling your team. So with positioning, high ground, unbreakable cover, flanking, things like that, right? With mismatches, we're talking, you end up in a 6v5, 6v4 because your team has been able to get some eliminations, but this can also be kind of about countering as well. Some heroes are at a deficit to other heroes, right? And that would be a mismatch. Countering. Now for this one, making a quick note of the enemy selections and then being able to swap. This is the most effective thing that you can do, I think, in Marvel Rivals, and having the ability to swap in game is honestly, it's like a whole power move in and of itself. So recognizing when you need to actually counter an enemy player is extremely important. Now, enabling, this is when you have a teammate that maybe is the one that's got the potential to carry for you. What can you do to help them do their job better? Now, we're going to dive a lot more into these things going forward, but we're going to touch on something else a little interesting first. And that interesting thing is Halo. I feel like we have to talk about this. For those of you that don't know, back in the day, Halo 2, Halo 3, I played this game at a professional level. It is very different, but it does have some similarities, and I do feel like some things that you might look at as a difference, I kind of view as something that just got reskinned. The map that we're looking here is the Pit. You guys might recognize this. This is just like an overview of it. Phenomenal map for competitive. Now, just like in Marvel Rivals, there are key map holds, right? However, in Halo, you also had to be thinking about the ability to force spawns, right? If you were pushing down into the sword area here and you get, let's say you get a full team wipe, you've got your team sniper tower right here. By moving into this area and having somebody drop down to their sniper tower, you're blocking that spawn zone now. So you could actually force people to spawn up here by moving through the map in certain ways. We don't have that in Marvel Rivals. They spawn in the same spawn room. Well, you can camp that spawn room, sure. You can't force where they're going to be. That was just like a totally different aspect in Halo that we don't see in this game. There was also the need to time power weapons. There was a sword here in the sword room. At the sniper tower, there's a sniper rifle, and then here in the middle, there was a rocket launcher. If you could not control the power weapons, this was going to be a tough match for you, right? You also had the ability to control ammo spawns and the ability to farm ammo based on how you positioned and where you forced spawns and forced the enemy team to be playing. Now, you might think the two can't be compared, but like I said, I just feel like certain things are just kind of reskinned, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Now, obviously, Marvel Rivals is not Halo. It is very different, but I feel like because I can look at the two games together in at least some way, analyzing them to, in the same way to an extent, it makes it a little bit more familiar, and it helps me to prioritize things a little bit more efficiently and effectively. Skill cooldowns. Managing skill cooldowns for me replaces power weapon respawns and ammo. Okay, this is something that's extremely important. Management of your skill cooldowns, if done well, can positively affect your chance at victory. You don't need to be waiting for ammo to respawn. You don't need to be, making sure you have ammo when team fights are going to break out. You have them already. You just have to make sure that your cooldowns are prepared for that and that you're using them in the correct order and that you're not just wasting them. Power weapons in Marvel Rivals are your skills. It's your ultimate, basically. It's just an incredible power weapon. Rather than picking it up on spawn, you spend your time charging it. These unique skills serve specific pushes, and here should be selected based on kit need. Area control is the objective only. So in Halo, you had Team Slayer, you had Capture the Flag, Oddball, King of the Hill, that kind of thing. This game is only objective. It is not Team Slayer. It is not Team Deathmatch. Management of the immediate area around the objective at all times is paramount to your victory. Controlling the objective and keeping the objective, not chasing eliminations. Now, we're going to revisit the slide here for a second as like consistently occurring opportunities. I kind of mentioned this before. These are the opportunities that exist in every single match. Okay, so we're going to go through these specifically, and I'm going to give a little bit more insight on these so that I can help you to understand how I view this and how I think that you can optimize so that you can have a higher chance at winning your match. Now, first and foremost, you need to get your mind right. Going into games passively, it's not a good idea. You got to go in ready to be locked in, be hyper aware, don't have tunnel vision on certain things, and pay attention to the ebb and flow of the battle. Straight up, like I said, don't play passively. You need to be ready to gain an advantage when the opportunity presents itself. It's so easy to play passively and just be going through the motions and feel like you're doing everything that you could be doing, but the likelihood is that you're not. You need to always be ready, always be paying attention, always be in position to capitalize on an opportunity, whether that be somebody's getting out of position, you can take high ground in this moment, or they lose a certain area. You need to be ready to go take that area over to control how the fight is moving and how you're controlling that entire area. Get your mind right when you get into these games, because if you're going to play passively, you're not going to notice the opportunities. Now, the first point that we're going to talk about is positioning. How does positioning create opportunity? Well, strong positioning moves can force the enemy team to make a mistake. They can also distract them, and it can result in the enemy being stuck or out of position by not recognizing the shifts in the ongoing team fight. Working one channel, right, one avenue to get to the objective is not a good idea. You need to make sure that you're utilizing all the different routes that you have to you. That's part of the positioning play, is acknowledging what ways aren't working and how you can approach the objective from a different area, because it might be more effective by doing that. Rotating around the enemy. This is something that happens just in approach to the objective during a team fight. If you just keep barreling in just straight ahead into them, I feel like that's a mistake in more times than not. You need to be ready to like rotate around the fight, change the angle of it, use your momentum. If you are the one giving, you are actually pushing them back a little bit, use that to swing in, right? And change the angle of the fight so that you can start to control position, because especially in some instances when it's like even just the slightest bit of like high ground to low ground, if you can work up into the high ground a little bit, you can totally change the outcome of a fight. Utilizing flanks and elevation, now we talked about elevation already, but flanking is extremely powerful. You can do this, as 2 people, as 3 people go together, like to do a team flank. You can just do it as one person. This is very effective, and it's a good way to distract the enemy and get them to look into a different area or just like a different direction of the map. This map is a really good map to think about when it comes to the way that you approach. Now, you need to be thinking of the rationale of approach. Due to that rationale, what is your projection of success? This map has so many ways to get into the objective area, and more often than not, what I see is people just running this route, running the blue route. I have a problem with this route for a lot of reasons. This is low ground. There's no cover here. Once you commit to the staircase, you got to get into here. Right here, they can peek this wall. The flyers can peek the ceiling here. They can be peeking in and out of this door frame here. They could even at this point, if they see you just constantly doing this, they could have some of their teammates end up in this zone right here shooting down at you. This is pure low ground with no direct unbreakable map cover. This is a bad route. Okay, if you need to go this way, if like you just have to go this way, go around here or go up top here. You can go through this area up top. You can go all the way around. At least over here, you have some cover from this building. And if you go up here, you've got tons of cover options, right? Plus now you have the high ground over this hold. Going down here, it's just more times than not, it's a mistake. If the enemy team knows what they're doing, it's going to be really hard for you to get out of here. Utilizing this direct flank area to get into this building or take the top section right here, also very powerful. This is changing the angle. If you've got some of your team coming around, let's say the red or the yellow route, and you're pushing through this area then because you've been able to take this over due to positioning correctly in this zone, having somebody flank here that's going to change and shift the attention of them holding the objective into this area might be all that you need to actually make the final push, because this is a little bit higher up than right here, right? There's a ramp that goes up here right on this blue line. It's very, very important to understand that when you are trying to access the objective, you don't have to keep doing it from the same way, right? The maps offer advantages to both teams. You have the ability here as the offensive team to attack the objective from many ways. And then the defending team has the advantage of having different areas to defend it from. Acknowledging where they're going to be defending it from is the first step in realizing where you need to be making your approach. This is really, really important. Lack of map awareness is a serious problem. If you are not fully aware of the way that you can move through the maps, chances are your ability to position is also not that good. My recommendation would be, if you're newer to the game, or if you just find yourself kind of passively doing the same routes, create a custom game just for yourself. Make it private, go into the map, and just pick a good mobility hero, you know, it could, like Jeff, for example, because you can swim around, and it's just quicker to move around throughout the map, rather than a flyer, because the flyers, you don't have to worry about like obstacles that you can't climb over, right? As an example, play as some heroes that have high mobility, just go through the map and explore it. Look at the different angles and just try to find different areas that you can advantage and get familiar with them, so that when you do go into the games, not only have you recognized like, okay, this is a really cool area to hold and it is high ground, take some time to like spend up here and acknowledge like how to utilize the area, how to use the natural cover, how do you get out of it? Okay, get comfortable with the area. Don't just use it because you now know it's there. Take some time to get comfortable with it. Being in a custom game where you can do this for an unlimited time is a very, very strong play to make, and it's going to help your game significantly. The next topic is mismatches. Outnumbering your opponent is an incredible advantage, but only if you act on it. I see this happen very often where we get one or two people down, but nobody starts pushing. It's like they didn't even realize that it happened. These are opportunities to really put pressure on the enemy team, especially if you get a vanguard down or you get a strategist down. These are like, especially in this meta that we have right now, this is a really strong moment to make a push. So eliminations, which is what I was just talking about, that can create a mismatch. This is important to capitalize on. Don't hesitate to make a push if you get one or two people down, as long as your team is going to be making that push with you. Counters, acknowledging the opponent's hero selections and swapping. This is very, very important. A mismatch doesn't just come from outnumbering the enemy team. It can come from playing a hero that directly counters an enemy hero. As an example, let's say Punisher and Strange. Punisher is going to make it really hard for Strange to keep his shield up. This takes a lot of value out of Strange's kit, right? His shield is extremely important for objective presence, and as a hero that can keep his shield destroyed all the time, he's losing a lot of his objective presence. I see this happen all the time. People play Strange and then you just don't get the counter for it, and it is so difficult to push into the objective zone. So counters can create a mismatch for sure. Strategic mismatches. This is just your general approach to the game, right? How you plan to work the map, how you step up against the competition can greatly assist in actually creating some form of mismatch. This comes from map awareness. This comes from positioning. Being able to move around the map in a way that's going to give you an advantage to create a mismatch. That's what you want to be trying to do. And now we can expand a little bit more on countering. I've got some good examples here. Squirrel Girl is an amazing counter against Groot. Wolverine is a great counter against Emma. These are just some examples. Don't give anyone maximum value for their hero. You need to make it rough for the enemy team to do their job, and you do that by focusing on the heroes that have the highest level of impact. Right now, I've said this in recent videos. I know this is like the flyer poke meta, but if I'm being honest, it really feels like a Vanguard meta right now, just in general. The Vanguards are so strong, and if you cannot deal with them, you can't take the objective, and that's the whole point, right? I know the poke meta is strong. It can be great at getting some picks. It feels like it kind of fell off a little bit. The tanks are just really doing work right now. Strange, Magneto, Emma, Groot, Captain America. It's crazy. It's crazy how effective they are and how strong they are. They're dealing so much damage that it's hard to approach them. The poke damage doesn't necessarily cut it either, unless you're getting the strategists off the map. They're just getting healed. They're just farming their ults. So until you can deal with them, you can't take the objective. And the poke meta is not really doing it. It's not shaping up to be as effective against the tanks as I feel like it was in the beginning, but I feel like we are just entering a time frame when people are just more aware of how strong the tanks are, right? And I've been saying this for a long time. You don't need to be a duelist to get eliminations. You don't need to be a duelist to get really high damage output. The tanks are doing it. They're just doing it. It's a fact. If you look at like really high level gameplay and you look at damage dealt and you look at elims, the Vanguards are usually right up there with the duelists. Now, obviously, the damage is different in the way that it's delivered. They're both effective in their own way, yes. But, you know, for those of you out there that feel like you want to get the eliminations, you don't have to be a duelist to do it. You can be a Vanguard, and then you're bringing so much more to the table than just dealing damage. You're able to soak up damage. You're able to protect your team. You're able to control the objective. Duelists are glass cannons. You can't really be controlling an objective with them. You're just gonna get eliminated. So, food for thought. The next one is enabling. Identify your carry and help them to succeed. It doesn't have to be you. You don't have to do all the work, right? I know we all kind of feel that way, and it's easy to look at games and say like, oh, I was doing the most. I can't believe that we lost. Well, maybe you didn't have to do the most. Maybe you need to help somebody else instead. Help someone else carry. There's nothing wrong with that. Make the swap that helps them excel. You can pocket heal them and heal the team as well, but pocket heal them as is needed and try to protect them. MOBA games taught me two very important strategic plays. I didn't play League of Legends, but I played Mobile Legends, which was like the knockoff version of that before Wild Rift came out. Phenomenal game. Not Wild Rift. I didn't like that much. It was too slow. But Mobile Legends, super fun. Super fun. I learned two very important things from playing that game. Identify your strongest player and enable them. In the beginning, I felt like I had to be the one doing everything, but sometimes just figure out who on your team is highly skilled and become a unit with them. Now you've got two people doing a really good job in game. That's going to greatly improve your chance of winning than everyone trying to do their own thing and do the most, right? No, but like you don't have to be the MVP, right? We already know that the MVP ranking system here and how they sort it is broken. It's pretty much meaningless. So who cares? Don't worry about that. Help somebody else so that you can have a higher chance of winning. The other opportunity is to identify the weakest enemy player. This is very important. Doing this gives your player on your team the ability to charge their ult faster, create havoc for the other team, and, dare I say it, picking on the weakest enemy player might cause a meltdown. This can help you win. Like, I hate to say it. I don't mean to I guess have it come across that way. I don't mean this in a mean way, but this is a strategic play in this game, right? If somebody on the enemy team is not that good, this is a chance for you to farm your ult faster. This is a chance for you to constantly keep them at a disadvantage or make the other enemy players feel like they need to swap to make changes, which might take them off their main, which might increase your advantage even more. These are very, very important things to be thinking about. Who's the strongest person on your team? How can you help them? Who's the weakest person on the enemy team? How can you advantage that? I've said this before as well, and I'll say it again. Let go of your pride, okay? You're not God's gift to gaming. You are not a pro. I'm not a pro. I don't pretend to be. You can't be good at a game if you're not willing to accept the fact that you make mistakes. As soon as you acknowledge that you can do better, that you have things that you need to work on, then you can improve. If you constantly feel like you are never the problem, well, then you probably are the problem, truthfully. Acknowledging the fact that you make mistakes is an opportunity for you to get better, all right? And with that being said, I just want to say that swapping is an asset. We have to be better about this. It's so easy to see people get tilted in game and get triggered because they're asked to swap. Look, unpopular opinion here. Your team shouldn't even have to ask you to swap. You should be able to acknowledge the fact that what you're doing isn't working. Okay, it's very straightforward. And it's not a bad thing. Being able to change your hero in game it's a superpower, truthfully. This is something that you should be advantaging. Being able to swap is an opportunity to improve your chances of winning. Being asked to swap is not something to get defensive about. If the request comes and somebody asks you in game to do it, it's probably because you're losing, right? And they have identified, or at least think they've identified, that who you are playing as right now isn't as helpful as who you could be playing as instead. So just swap. It's a good thing, right? We want to win, right? So if your hero is countered, change. If your hero's not making a difference, change. If they need more healing or they need more objective presence, make the swap. You can get elims as vanguards. You can get elims as strategists. And I know everybody wants elims. It's really tough to break that mentality. It's really, really hard. I get it. But you have to control the objective. So if what you're doing is not helping control the objective, you got to swap, just straight up. I also want to share this with you guys. This is how I personally quantify skill in-game. I put intelligence, in-game intelligence, not just your intelligence, what you get on an IQ test, in-game intelligence over mechanical skill. That's not to say that mechanical skill is not important, but that's why I've got it at 5%, right? That 95%, that game intelligence right there, your awareness, that is going to help you do so much better than just your mechanical skill alone, right? Really well thought out gameplay comes from anticipation, expectation, awareness of timing, cooldowns, when somebody might appear somewhere, right? And this creates favorable predictability for you. If you can anticipate when someone's going to round a corner or how they're going to round that corner, this gives you an instant advantage. Being able to outsmart your teammate because you play intellectually, you play in a very well thought out manner. You're a very active, hyper aware player. You're not just playing passively. This gives you a huge advantage. When you are able to anticipate what's going to happen, when you're able to do the things that the enemy team isn't expecting either, you get the advantage. This is something that was really important in playing Halo and Call of Duty back in the day at a professional level. Who's getting the first shot, right? If you're getting the first shot on someone in Halo, because it was 4 headshots for the Elim, right? 4, not 3. If you're getting the first one, you only need 3 more and they haven't even shot at you yet. So if you hit your next 3 shots and you don't miss, then you get the Elim. This is what I'm talking about. The mechanical skill comes into play, yes, but you can swing that into your favor by gaining an advantage by playing with your intelligence, right? Pay attention to everything that's going on around you. Think about where people might be going and make sure that you're checking. Always look back. Always check your sides. Don't assume anybody else is looking out for you. You need to do it yourself, and then you need to analyze how the gameplay is feeling and then acknowledge how you can outsmart the enemy team. Make sure that you're ready to punish overextenders as well. Don't let enemy players take chances and get away with it. Keep them in check by identifying the greedy players. It is so easy for anyone really to chase an Elim or overextend because they think that they're making a strong push, but they might not realize that the rest of the team isn't following up with them. They've already won the fight, they're holding back, that one person continues the push. You got to punish them for that. Get them a player down at that point, because that can swing a fight for you, especially if they didn't get any of your players eliminated on your team. Now you're at, that mismatch. You are outnumbering them, and this can give you the opportunity to make a really strong push. Certain people overextend more than others. Certain heroes extend more than others, overextend more than others. It just happens, right? So pay attention to that and be ready to take advantage of it. Flanking to distract. It's pretty common for people to think that a successful flank only happens if an elimination occurs as a result. This is very wrong. Flanking to distract is arguably far more relevant than just trying to get a flank dive on a strategist in the back line. You can flank to distract and distract the entire enemy team, and then you just leave. Don't hang around. Don't try to win a fight. Don't try to get the Elim. Having them avert their attention to you will give your team the ability to possibly have an opening to push forward, or maybe one of them can get a pick. Obviously, if you can get an elimination while flanking, that's beneficial, but you don't have to do that for it to be successful. As long as your team is ready to move when you do that, it can be really amazing. Also, be patient. There's no reason to push, when it's not the opportune time. Wait for your teams. Wait until you think that you can actually take control of the objective. You have a lot more time than you think in these matches too. I see people rushing a lot. They don't want to wait for their teammates. They feel like they just got to go in and touch. But when you have 2 minutes left, you don't have to touch. Just wait. Wait for the team, work together, and it will make a huge difference. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another video. I had a lot of fun making this one. I think this is a really good topic to be thinking about and to have fresh in your mind, because it changes the game. It really does. Capitalizing on opportunity changes the game, and a lot of that comes from just smart gameplay. Playing smart means you're advantaging position. It means you're looking for the mismatches and how you can create them. It means that you're willing to swap and work as a team. It means that you are ready to acknowledge a counter and then make that counter happen so you can make the enemy team lose value. All of these things are very, very important things to be considering, and I hope that this video makes you start bringing these into your gameplay and putting them to practice. So thank you again for tuning in to watch this video. I really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and join the Discord as well. We're having a lot of fun in there, playing games together, having discussions about all kinds of topics, sharing memes, sharing highlights, gameplay. It's just a lot of fun. So I'd love to see you guys there. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.